Carthage College is a well-known proponent of a classic liberal education. Dr. Campbell, tell us why a classic liberal education is so important.
People will have many jobs in their lifetimes. Americans change jobs frequently. There is no school that can train a person to do what he or she will be asked to do 10, 15, 20, let alone 30 or 40 years into the future, because those will be new techniques at that point in time. What we can do is help the kids learn how to learn, help them to become educable. And there's no better way than an education in the arts and sciences to become lifelong learners. If you're going to have a successful professional career, you need to be able to keep on learning.
This is a great country and they have a chance to get a great education, and you'd think that core curricula and relevant departments would at least try to encourage students to read the Declaration of Independence and the Federalist Papers and think hard about the principles of our republic. But so many times, as you know, the courses are in, the development of parties in Congress, 1947 to 1963, and they have no idea about the real fundamental principles.
Judge Rendell, tell us about your efforts to strengthen civic education in Pennsylvania.
Well, we're working with the schools and with teachers, trying to give them curriculum and programs that really work, to teach our children the knowledge about our democracy, develop the skills of critical thinking, deliberation about issues, helping prepare them for their role as citizen through curriculum and also through outside activities.
There's a growing momentum to reinvigorate education in the teaching of America's founding principles and history. If you would, share with us your thoughts about how important it is for students to learn about the founding and about America's heritage.
I think it's very important. And I agree, there is a growing momentum. You can see it every day to figure out who we are and where we've come from, so we can figure out where to go.
What we're doing is introducing this generation to the great conversation that has gone on for 2,500 or 3,000 years in Western culture. And if they're to know what they're looking at in an art gallery, or to pick up on the allusions in literature in all directions, in all kinds of ways, they're going to need some vocabulary of what has developed across the centuries. They're going to have to enter, in other words, into that great conversation that has spanned the centuries among thinkers and writers, and will continue, and they will become a part of it. Each generation becomes a part and adds its own thoughts and perspectives and passes those on to the next.
Tests and polls and surveys have shown that Americans really aren't getting the kind of history education that they deserve. The nation's report card done by the Department of Education shows that 57% of 12th graders score below basic in American history. And that's worse than any other subjects, including math and science. That's pretty astounding.
But to actually figure out how to help educate people is hard. To figure out how to help shape the way students are taught, to help educate grad students and faculty is really a difficult thing. And I know lots of people who've tried to do it and have kind of retreated from the field, sort of shaking their head that they couldn't make a difference.
Well, as a judge, I work with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights day in and day out, and I've come to realize that while I may know about what it contains, many of our citizens really don't have basic knowledge about the separation of powers, about their rights and their responsibilities as citizens. So the idea is to go into the schools and teach our children at an early age about who they are, about what our democracy is, and about the role that they will play in keeping it alive.
And so it seems in some way that the longer you stay in school, the less you know about history. And there are many reasons for this. One of them is that teachers, now I'm talking about K-12, aren't really getting the kind of history education they deserve. The education schools are producing lots of good people, but people who know a lot about educational psychology and lesson plan making, but not about subject matter history. So you can't teach what you don't know.
If you expose young people to some of the most profound thinkers in human history, they will be challenged to do better thinking.
We believe in American exceptionalism, that we are an exceptional country, and we're always thinking about what would Washington do, what would Jefferson do, what does the Declaration mean, what does the Constitution say. So I think this idea of Americans knowing history is especially important because we always go back to our roots. We have a creed, the Declaration of Independence, and we have a blueprint for this country, the Constitution, and so we have a start date as well. So those documents are incredibly important, and they have been a kind of North Star for Americans since their inception.
Well, democracy depends upon the participation by everyone. If 20% of the people are engaged, if 30% of the people vote, it's not really a democracy. We would be ceding power to our rulers. And the country was founded upon the opposite of that, putting power in the hands of people.
I believe that there are great ideas at our origins and in our development, and we will do very well to hold on to them and to pass them on to the next generation and future generations after them.